Right, no face paint this week. Did have face paint on the other night, if you saw my little update on Insta, and that was Aussie night. I was on a breathwork session with Shane and Angie Saunders from Australia. Because I've got no Wi-Fi in the van at the moment, I did that from Wetherspoon's beer garden. It was freezing cold in the back, but I took my Australia towel and in fact, I told you I don't plan for this at all. It's just stuff I've got lying around. Right, let's see if I can pop that there. There we can. There we go. So I took this. It's all yellow and green. It says Australia in big writing. And I took some rope with me and some clothing pegs, and I basically just lashed that up and had that as a backdrop, and I did my face in yellow and green stripes with neon paint. It's just the way I do things. So yeah, I had a behavioural breathwork session with Shane and Angie, thank you to them. And yeah, it's just more new people, more people that I meet through the wonders of online, even though it's a little bit tricky for me at the moment with no Wi-Fi and a Faraday cage in my van. Hence why I went to Wetherspoons to do it. So thanks to them, straight off the bat. What do I want to talk to you about today? I tell you what, I've just had a conversation. I've just been and collected water, so that I was a little bit prepared for this, but then ended up in a chat, like I do, at the toilet block. So yeah, they've just taken my Insta, and we'll probably see this in a bit. So hi. Yeah. So what did I want to talk to you predominantly about? Well, one of the things is my new product, Smartea. So Smartea is something that I'm running or started to promote, and keeping it a little bit low key and underground. It's a product that's not been tested yet. I believe there's possibly someone who's got finances to test it who is getting it looked at, but it's got potential to be the next Maca or Cacao. I'm not going to tell you what it is, only my product name, and my product name for it is Smartea. It is a blue flower, and it's not blue lotus, as some of my friends who work in the holistic field and metaphysics have asked or queried about. It's not that. It's something that's in 5,000-year-old Ayurveda medical journals. So it's a herbal tea from the East, and the East tends to know a lot more about stuff than the West does, and they've known about it for thousands of years, and it's a cognitive function drug. So it has potential once it's been tested. I don't know the results of what that will be, but there is potential that could help with Alzheimer's and things like that. That's my hope for it anyway. What I'm doing with it is keeping it low-key and underground, Falmouth based only, and for those that are interested in it, which I've been into Adonis already, the wellness store, sells supplements and stuff, and they're very keen on the idea. And what I've done is, it's completely legal, by the way. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it is completely legal, and this is it. So because I'm an ex-undercover copper, I know how to do certain things, and so what I've done is I've taken something that's nice and made it a little bit naughty. So I've made wraps. So this is just a herbal tea, that's all it is, and I'm selling these wraps, £2 suggested donation. That's totally legal, legit, above board. I've already spoken to the Department of Work and Pensions and told them that I'm doing this, and they're okay with it. So in a wrap you get 10 flowers, so that's enough to make 1 or 2 cups of tea, depending on how strong you want it. and it will make a beautiful blue coloured tea. I'll actually make a cup of tea. It's a bit of a faff, but that's why I went and got water, because I have to do chess and move things around. My coffee machine has decided to pack up a little bit, which is perfect timing, because I'll go into that in a minute. I've got gas again, first time in 6 weeks. But so I can actually boil a kettle and we'll make a cup of tea, and I'll show you what colour it is. But it's a blue tea, and then there's an additional little bit of magic to it. But I'll do that. I'll make a brew in a minute and show you what it does. But that's £2 suggested donation, and so the price of a herbal tea, if you go in a pub or something, is usually around £2, £2.50. With this, £2 suggested donation would get you 1 to 2 cups of tea, 5 to 10 flowers per cup, and you add about 250 ml of water to off the boil, so around 90 degrees C, and you brew that for 5 to 10 minutes, and it'll turn this amazing colour. But I'll show you that in a sec. But £2 suggested donation, and I will be not peddling this out on the street. If people do want it in the local Falmouth area, they can come to my van, big white VW Crafter, parked right by the toilet block at Swampole Beach, between the hours of 10 and 2, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. I'm Ayurveda, so I set that's basically my working hours almost, right? So if they want to come to the van, I'm quite happy to, for a donation, provide them with a cognitive function herbal tea. It's helped me a lot. It's got my brain firing in ways you wouldn't believe, hence why I've been able to take on Devon and Cornwall Police in a compensation claim, why I've ran 30 different projects all at the same time. I've taken my foot off the gas a little bit with that now, because I know that I'm going to get my compensation, so that's where my money's going to come from. And this is something, since I've been, I actually call it thriving now, on £10 and 8p a week for the last 10 months. Because I'm always happy, I'm always healthy, and I have the best time. So there you go. But that's Smartea. I actually did some promotional material for that yesterday. I posted that on Insta and Facebook as well. But I'll have to go outside the van to grab that, because it's in the window. After all of this is done, I will, because I've got no Wi-Fi, so I can't upload it. But I will have some lunch briefly, and then I will get to the library. In fact, no, I won't. I'll have lunch after. I'll hoof it to the library. I'll get some photocopies of the poster that I've made up. And there's a few places which I've already been in and asked who are quite happy to put that up for me. One's Beowulf. That's a pub in Falmouth that sells a lot of alternative books. So it's a pub, a bookshop, and there's also table tennis and things like that there. It's actually a really cool place, and they do herbal teas. But they're quite happy to have a poster of mine up in there as well, which is great. Thank you to them there. And yeah, so that's, I'll tell you what, let's just take you over and start the rigmarole of getting a brew on, because it's going to have to brew for like 5, we'll do it for 5 minutes. So if I do this, I'm going to flip you around for, right, so got the kettle out again. There is some water in there already. Let's move the chopping board. And then we will move that to there. We'll move that to there. We'll move that to there. We'll move that to there. And then, right, I'm going to have to round again. We'll put you by butter. And we'll find it. Fire up the kettle. Sorry I don't make a mess anywhere, I don't even know if you can see this, but this is like basically the system that I have to go through So I've been and collected water. It's a push button thing on the side of the toilet block that dispenses water, so you have to keep your finger on it and hold it for a while, but that gives you water. I ended up in a conversation with some really nice people there this morning who've recently moved fairly close by. But anyway, that will be enough water. Let's put you on there. That's boiling. Set you out of the way and put you back under there. So that's all out of the way and tidy it again. Right, now we've done that, now we go. Now we go into the cupboard and we find a teapot. There you go, if you want to know what's in my cupboards. There we go. So we've got protein powders, we've got cacao powder, we've got another organic protein powder, natural. Right, it's hard to do with no hands. Right, let's flip you out. There you go. Loads of toilet roll, which is always good. And this was knitted by Betty. I found this in a charity shop up in North Wales, £6.50. So thanks Betty for my owl tea cozy. She won't see this, but thank you anyway. I like owls. And the teapot. Some things around again. I will just say as well is obviously I know like food standards and things like that, and so I'm not preparing people tea in here, and when I do package it up, I will be wearing gloves. I haven't got surgical masks at the moment because of budget, but when I do have some more sales coming in, I'll buy some surgical masks as well, and all my hair will be tucked completely out of the way, but I'm just making a brief for myself, so this is fine. Right. So, like I say, I'm not going to get my hands in there. I have actually given a few samples to a couple of people, and also to someone who has got their food hygiene thing, but rather than me stick my hands in because he washed his hands, I offered him the bag, and he took his own flowers out. So whilst we're waiting for the kettle to boil, let's just flip your yeah, so we've had a change of bedding. I'll talk about Tuesday. So Tuesday is I can basically, because of my financial situation, I basically don't move very often. I move once a month, because that's all I can do with the budget I've got. So I have to be on it and prepare and plan for everything. So because I'm Ayurveda, I'm up really early, 4 AM. So Tuesday I got up at 4 AM. I had some breakfast, and then I drove to go and get gas. I've been there before, and I've been there quite early before, but I didn't want to disturb them, so I drove onto site and very quietly reversed and opened my sliding door so I could disconnect the gas bottle, which I don't do very often because I haven't had gas for like 6 weeks. And I got shouted at. A chap came out of like a static caravan there and literally went absolutely berserk at me, started shouting at me and hollering at me. So that's something called the medulla oblongata. If you don't know about the brain, so the medulla oblongata is basically a gland in the brain and it's known as the red mist or the wrath of God, and it's when people lose their shit. Basically, they lose control of themselves, which I do not do because I have nervous system regulation. And he started hollering at me anyway and going, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "Waiting for gas. I'm not going to peep my horn, it's early." He's like, "You got your sliding door open, you're nicking trees." And I was like, "I haven't even got a garden, mate." I was like, "Why would I want to nick trees?" And he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I said, "I was disconnecting the gas because I'm shit at it, because I don't do it very often." And I was like trying to work my head around it, which I did, and I got the gas bottle off. And he just kept having a pop about loads of different things, and I was just like really sure. He's like, "Are you on weed?" And I was like, "No, I don't do drugs, and I don't drink." I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm going to go away, and I'll come back in a couple of hours." He said, 9 o'clock. And I was like, "Okay, 9 o'clock. So I left. And I used my time wisely. I went to Tesco's and I bought a few key ingredients which I'd already planned for, which is like 2 kilos of oats, some frozen berries, bunch of bananas, some honey. That's about it really. But I'd already worked out my budget. So I bought those bits and pieces, and then I sorted out my Amazon Music account because there was a late payment on that, but I sorted that out, so I've got Amazon Music again, which is fantastic because it's one of my sort of ways of therapy, so that's perfect. I knew I also had an 11 a.m. call from EE, from Jasmine again, so I'd got that in my mind and remembered that I've got that to deal with. I then went on to a community larder in the Redruth area and queued up there, and whilst I queued up I did some more budgeting, some quick maths with a bit of paper and a pen. I've always got a pen on me to work out my budget again. And then I went in and I had a cauliflower, a broccoli, a cabbage, a loaf of bread and a couple of other little bits. And I sit down and I chat with them. I haven't seen them in a couple of months, so that was nice. And following on from that, I went on to Van Life over in St Day, and they are fantastic over there as well, because I haven't had a shower in a hot shower in about 6 weeks, but through the use of my coffee machine, which is now just backed up, I still had the ability to wash down every day, which I do, with use of sort of all natural essential oil soaps, and then I use essential oils afterwards to moisturise. So I went there and had a hot shower, first one in 6 weeks, and also I get to do my laundry there as well. So I took all my laundry in and did 2 loads of laundry and tumble dried it, and sat down and had a big chat. We talk about various things, we all swap sort of little hints and tips and ideas, which is lovely. A lot of colouring in goes on there. Colouring in, again, it's another therapy. It's absolutely fantastic. I did mention Ayurveda, by the way, before. So this is one of the reasons, and I completely went berserk on Christianity, I think, as berserk as I get anyway, last week. And the reason I don't like it is because it encourages people to sit on their arse and sing songs. Well, that isn't good enough. It's not going to get you fit, it's not going to keep you healthy, and you're just going on a hope and a prayer there, aren't you? So this is why Ayurveda is great. This is a book called Practical Ayurveda. You can get it from Amazon, and it's actually probably cheaper on Temu, but you can get it from various places. Bright yellow, you shouldn't really miss it. Practical Ayurveda. It says, find out who you are and what you need to bring balance to your life, and it's basically a guide to how to live your life better. It incorporates yoga, meditation, massage, food and home remedies. Highly recommend it. It's what I live by, and it also tells you the advised, again these are advisements, times to do things at certain periods of the day, like when to be creative, when to have your main portion of work, when to eat, when to go to bed, and it's all based on your different body types. So in Ayurveda, they knew about this 5,000 years ago. The West is so slow and so behind in comparison. But anyway, that's a little book. If you're interested, that is basically how I live my life. and that's why I've set my working hours for Smartea as between 10 and 2 a.m. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. On my promotional poster that I've made, and that's a little picture that I took, by the way, for it. Friday the 8th of May 26. So I did that early in the morning, yesterday morning, before I then sorted quite a few other little bits out. Got some yellow card I already had, and colouring in pens and things that I already had. And then basically I did my promotional material for it in the creative period, which is in the afternoon. And so I followed Ayurveda, and I got my exercise in the morning. I always exercise, by the way, after every single meal. So after breakfast I'll go for a walk, after lunch I'll go for a walk, after evening meal I'll go for a walk. This is a top tip for you. It helps and aids digestion, so that's just what I do anyway. I appreciate not everyone has the ability to walk, but there's always something you can do. Even, it probably sounds horrible, but even if you're paraplegic, you can probably still, I don't know, just do something. Like, again, another thing is about moving your eyes, and the direction of where your eyes are focusing as well. But I haven't got qualifications in that yet. I haven't got my accreditation, which is why I'm still waiting on the charging decision coming back from Crown Prosecution Service, CPS. It should be a no case to answer, and it's not in the public interest anyway, over an old set of handcuffs of mine. And if it is, I'll go to court and I'll explain it. And it, unless the magistrate's really bizarre, it will get thrown out, and then Devon and Cornwall Police will have to pay me compensation. Okay. Kettle is... it's a whistling kettle. It's nearly there, but I can tell it's near enough done. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave you there for a minute, actually. No, we're not. We're going to go over. So, let's just take it off, because I know that that's good enough. That's about 90 degrees. Because we're going to have to leave it to brew as well, so... I'm just eyeballing this as opposed to... So I'll probably put in a bit more water than what you normally would, but... Right, I shall leave that to brew for 5 to 10, 5 minutes probably. Let's put Betty's tea cosy back on. So I've had coffee this morning. That's my coffee jug. I was in my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu massive stage at that time, so hence why everything's like Brazil colours. Twiddle you round. Okay. Right, back in a sec. Put the tea cosy back on. It's flipping freezing here. The wind is up today. Okay, there you go. Betty's tea cosy doing its job. Perfect. Right, we'll leave that for... what time are we on? Leave that for 5 minutes and I'll show you what that does. So yeah, so I've done laundry, so I've got another change of bedding. You should try and change your bedding on a regular basis. Reminds me of Australia, and there's a lot of people getting bed bugs and things like that, so I try and keep on top of that. So I made this bedding a few years back actually, tie-dyed all my own stuff, which is cool. And yeah, there's so much I could tell you about croissants. Oh yeah, I was like, last week I was gonna either call it croissants or Star Wars. A quick story about the croissant thing. So my friend will call me the croissant manifester. So I've been across Falmouth, covering many miles like I do, and I went to the Dracaena Centre where you can pick up like bread and whatnot, and they're really cool in there. And there's some a bag of croissants, 2 croissants, and I asked if I could take those, and he was like, of course you can. I was like, well, thank you very much. So I took those, and I started on my walk back. I've always got a weighted backpack. I started on my walk back, and I actually decided to stop and on a bench and look over the estuary and the boats in there. And I had one of the croissants, and I had the other croissant still in the bag. I was like, I don't need 2 croissants. And so I carried on my walk, and I bumped into someone who I've mentioned before called Dan. And he was homeless and was sat in a doorway, and he'd had a bit of a crap weekend. And I was like, all right, mate. He's like, no, I've had a shit time. I was like, all right, that's not good. I was like, do you want a croissant? I've just had one. I've got one here. He's like, yeah, go on then. And he's like, oh, bloody brilliant. I've now got a croissant and a fag. And he said, today's looking up. And I was like, yeah, exactly. It's like, he said, look at them. Look at all those miserable bastards like scurrying around. I was like, yeah, man, it's cool. You've now got a croissant and a fag. You're happy. So he was happy. I was happy. He was happy. I walked off, walked round the corner, and I got given another croissant. This was a sample, and it was the nicest croissant I've ever had. It was a vegan raspberry croissant. It was, like I say, a sample from the Cornish Bakery in Falmouth, and credit where credit's due. I was like, wow, that is absolutely amazing. That's the best croissant I've ever had. And he was like, oh, well, thank you. And I was like, no, thank you. And continued on my way, and I mentioned this to my friend, and she's just like, you're the croissant manifester. And I was like, I know. I was like, who knew? Wouldn't it be great if I could do that more often? But anyway, so that's why I was going to go with croissants, but I didn't. So I did Aussie breathwork session, and very brief thing, because we're 28-ish minutes in. Want to mention another one of my friends who I've got back in contact with this week. She was in South Africa, travelling around again. That's where she's from. That's my friend Monique. Monique is a very busy lady. She runs EDM, electronic dance music radio station in Newquay, or was. I presume she still is. I don't know. I'm kind of a bit out of contact at the moment because of Wi-Fi. She also sells racehorses and probably does a number of other things as well. She's a vet, all sorts of stuff. Just I generally get on with South Africans because it's a fairly direct conversation you have. They're like me. They just don't hold punches, you know. You just say what you bloody think. It's just so much easier that way. And she loves her quite a lot of the harder stuff, like techno, but also psytrance. And she used to live in a penthouse overlooking Newquay Bay, and I'd only met her once, and she put something out on Facebook asking if there was anyone who's available to help her move. She had to move out of the penthouse and had taken over an entire B&B, which was then full of musicians and music producers and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I've only met her once, but I was like, yeah, I'm free, I'll come and give you a hand. Parked my van up in a supermarket car park and paid for parking up there, and walked in because parking's a bit tricky. But I spent the whole day pretty much with everyone near enough was South African, and had a great time. Helped her move house. Actually, as a housewarming, on another occasion, I took her in a watercolour of The Lion King with Hakuna Matata on it, which she put sort of pride of place in the doorway as you'd walk in. And everyone used to make everyone happy, and everyone used to start singing Hakuna Matata. And she said, that's what I always sing to my parrots. Her parrots are called Toto and Capri, African grey, and that is one of their feathers. I don't know if it's Toto's or Capri, but she used to save her parrot's feathers for me as well. So I made that into one of my earrings, and thank you to Monique for that. And we've been from South Africa. She likes it warm, so do I. It's bloody freezing here. And when the sun would come out, we'd all sit basking in the sun like a load of lizards. And Monique's she won't mind me saying this. She actually said, I've got nothing to hide. She has, but I'm not going to go into that. But we'd sit out basking in the sun, and both the little on the alternative scale, and we'd have our charging in the sun. So there you go, that's my bowl. It's actually got vapes aren't good for you, by the way. I've been in to speak to the NHS about that. So that's my little crystal bowl, and I'd had all my crystal, well, not all of them, but I'd have crystals out, and she'd have her bowl with her crystals out, and we'd just be chilling and basking in the sun and having a lovely time. And let's see how the tea's doing. Move Betty's thing. So this morning I've changed the bedding because I get up early. I've cleaned all the toilet. Still got the breakfast dishes to do. But yeah. So let's have a little look. So because I put quite a bit of water in, it's a bit weaker than what it would normally be. But you can see there's a blue colour coming in there, yeah? Oh, and we've got a South African flag here as well. So like I say, got in contact again with our friends, and so this is my van's covered basically in flags around all the windows and door so that I get some privacy and stuff. So we've got chakras going on there so I can see them, not the outside. And then we've now got a new flag, the rainbow flag, and I am a rainbow warrior. That is my title, if you like, from the Oglala Sioux tribe. But there you go, we can see it's kind of a bluey colour, yeah? So, because this is just for me, I'm just going to do it this way because it'll be easier. So I'm going to finish what was in the glass there, sorry, I just gulped at you. Pour that out. Now this would normally be a much darker colour if I'd have left it to brew longer or put more flowers into it, and you'd get a beautiful, real, quite deep blue tea. So this possibly might not work. Like I say, I don't really plan it, and we're kind of already at half an hour. But then you can see the blue colour there. I take my sunnies off. That should probably see a bit better. Add some lemon. There you go. We now have a change of colour. We've now gone a pinky purple colour from the blue. A little bit of extra magic for you. And this is, like I say, Smartea is what I'm calling it. And cognitive function, although untested at the moment. But there you go. I will leave that to cool for a second because it's actually really hot. And I will add, for me personally, I'll put a little bit of honey in there, just to sweeten it. But yeah, absolutely tastes really nice as well. It's just a herbal tea, completely legal, and will do someone's mind a lot of good. I had various chats with ex-service personnel as well. I do all the time, so I usually get on really well with the paras and the marines, and that is who my clientele will be for breathwork. We speak the same language. I don't have to hold their hands. I can swear. I'll tell it how it is. We've both seen shit. We've both been, all that lot, we'll have all been through things, and we speak the same language. So my clientele for breathwork will be military and special forces, which I mentioned to Shane and Angie Saunders the other night, and they totally get that. And we just get on. So there you go. Right, that's just 33 and 33 minutes done, so we'll call it quits there. But hope you have the best day ever. Thank you for watching. Tag Samike, Danyavad Tak Pilamea. Bad Boy of Yoga out.